Speaking on BBC Daily Politics, the director of the independent think tank Open Europe argued that as much as preventing the UK to have a say on future negotiated EU rules on financial services, leaving the single market post-Brexit would also mean the UK will not be bound by such rules anyway. Mr. Newman pointed out only 40% of UK exports go out to the EU and that the EU is yet to be as advanced as the UK in all other services covered by the rules of the single market. He said, "We don't think there should be a customs union, we think we need to have the ability to control our trade. That is something we think we've settled during the referendum by the democratic decision in 2016. BBC Brexit News, Open Europe director claims UK's financial services will be better off outside the EU. In terms of services, the single market is obviously not complete in services, but in those fields where it's most advanced like financial services, less than 40% of our exports are actually going to the EU. And I think people like Antoinette would argue that. As a member we are able to shape the rules around the table in Brussels, and we are able to block rules that wouldn't be favorable. They also need to recognize that if we are not sitting around the table it's particularly difficult for us to remain bound by those rules if we can't shape them." Earlier in May, a report for a free market think tank claimed the UK can retain its dominance in the financial sector by capitalizing on its natural advantages of size, skill, creativity, the English language and law, time zone and independence from the European Union. The report countered anti-Brexit gloom by spelling out an optimistic vision for Britain's banks and other financial services, even if the EU fails to strike favorable exit terms. Co-author Shankar Singham, a trade and competition lawyer, said, "Now is the time for the UK to promote more competitive regulation in global standard-setting organizations and to challenge global rules with anti-competitive effects. We don't think there should be a customs union. We think we need to have the ability to control our trade." Henry Newman financial regulation is already based on international standards in many key areas. Outside the EU, the UK will have the advantage of greater agility in decision-making, entering into regulatory recognition arrangements with third countries, and implementing appropriate regulations. If these tracks are initiated, the future for UK financial services should be very bright. The report said Britain and the EU could and should seek to maintain basic equivalence of their rules. Brussels and the other 27 member states would risk damaging their economies and companies if they tried to wrest financial services from London and limit access to UK capital after Brexit, which made such an outcome unlikely, they said. But the UK and its financial firms must also look worldwide at forging new alliances with like-minded countries to liberalize markets and improve the availability of capital and insurance, while preserving security and safety for consumers. Action should include pressing for further World Trade Organization rules to stop countries discriminating against others' firms. Britain should take up a proposal by Swiss banks to form an alliance with, initially, Switzerland, Hong Kong and Singapore, to promote integration through mutual recognition of each other's services. The UK should also seek finance sector deals further afield, including with its own overseas territories, if their standards are high enough. Making the case for looking beyond the EU, the report stressed developing economies' share of world GDP had doubled in 2 decades to 40%, while the EU's plunged from 30 to 22%, or 18% without the UK. And these trends are forecast to continue.